I don't get it. It beats me. Why ask the question? Is this a date? Why can't you reduce the question to more simple terms and avoid any expectations or promises? How about this for a more immediate question to ask yourself? Do you want to have a conversation with this person? Learn something from this person? Connect with this person? Share a common cause? Share a laugh? Maybe talk about dynamics of dating? Maybe laugh at the dynamics of dating? How about this? Can this person make me laugh in the first place? If everyone had a good time and wants to get together again, then it was a date. If you might want to meet again, but no one's in any hurry to set up a milestone follow-up, then it wasn't a date. See how easy that was? Then we don't have to go around wondering in advance if something was a date, if something is a date. And we don't have to go around designating anything as a bad date. The concept of a bad date gets abolished altogether because every encounter becomes a priori a non-date. Although, I admit, you might still end up with a bad encounter. In fact, the sine qua non of having a date, including a potentially bad one, is for both parties to knowingly or unknowingly assume that you're on a date. In which case, if things go south, then it's a bad date. But if the parties start with the assumption that it's not a date, then you avoid a bad date. A bad date is not a fait accompli. After all, the raison d'etre of a date for some people is to find their soulmate. So the last thing you need is to be pressured by the question, is this a date? By the way, I never thought these fancy Latin terms would come in handy in general, but much less in a discussion about dating. Wow, listen to me. Listen to me go. A priori, sine qua non, fait accompli, raison d'etre. Huh? Come on, are you impressed? Just a little bit? Am I using these in a discussion on dating? And maybe you want to meet me for a non-date, you know? Anyway, and not to digress, but if you individually or consensually insist on calling something a date on the front end, it's not like I can stop you. It's not like I can control you. But I'm telling you, you're going to want to make that assessment on the back end of the encounter. Can't you both sort out on the front end whether you're willing to go with the flow and making a post-mortem determination on the back end? To be or not to be a date. That's what Hamlet said when he couldn't figure out if he wanted to be with Ophelia. At least that was in Shakespeare's first draft. But the public doesn't know about it because it was too controversial. Because it's too insightful. But yeah, even Hamilton had this problem. I mean Hamlet, you know, maybe Hamilton had this problem too, you know. That's why they made a Broadway musical. I think that's the real reason. But yeah, even Hamlet had this problem. And as if he didn't have enough problems, right? In fact, here's an irony. Whether that person is willing to mutually decide on the back end whether something is a date is a great way to sort people whether they are attuned to you and whether you want to go on that date, on that preliminary non-date. And if they insist on getting the answer to the question, is this a date, on the front end, before the encounter even begins, then you have your answer, because your prospect is unnecessarily being an agent provocateur, which I know is a French rather than Latin term, but French is a Latin-based romance language, but that's all I understand besides the point. Anyway, once again I digress. So forget the question, is this a date? You can always tell yourself later, I guess it was an X, Y, or Z. I'm just saying. How about this? If I didn't make you laugh, then it's not a date. If I make you laugh, it might be a date. If you laughed at me, it's not a date. If you laughed with me, then maybe it's a date. End of story. Case closed. Sine qua non, per se. Just saying.